Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to tell you my favourite 5 finance books. Before we get started with today's video, please let me introduce myself. My name's Gary. I run this channel Free Your Finance where I talk about investing, property and the journey towards financial independence. If this sounds like something you may wish to watch a little more of, don't forget you can smash that subscribe button below. So growing up, I was never a reader. I actually hated reading, but over the last couple of years I've really got into it, mostly from the use of audiobooks. I don't know why, I just connect better with listening rather than reading, and I love the fact that I can listen to a book while I'm out for a run or driving in my car. I use Audible, which is part of Amazon, and I'm going to put a link in the description where if you sign up using that link you'll get a free audiobook. You have to sign up for the free trial, but of course you can cancel this very easily at any time. Even if you decide to cancel your membership, your audiobook will still stay on your app. So the 5 different books that I'm going to talk about today have taught me all sorts of things, everything from finance to developing a life that I want to live. I will leave a link to all 5 of the books that we speak about today in the description box below. Please leave a comment in the comments box below of your favourite finance book and why. So here goes with my list. Number 1, The Simple Path to Wealth. So this book is by a fire god, so to speak, J.L. Collins, who explains the book was actually wrote for his daughter. The reason being is he was constantly pushing her about investing and thinking about her retirement, and she just didn't care less. So instead he thought he'd write a book in simple, plain terms that even his daughter could understand and read. The basis in the book is of course in the title, it's the simple path to wealth. So it's not going to confuse you the reader with all sorts of technical mumble jumble. Instead it lays out a simple path which will help you towards the goal of financial independence and something that J.L. Collins calls FU money. To give you some main sort of pointers about the book. Firstly, in case you haven't realised, I can say it's super simple. It is almost reassuring. J.L. Collins himself has been investing for years and he has gone through multiple dips in the market. So it's nice to hear his experience of investing in the stock market, mainly through index funds, which you all know I'm a massive fan of. The book is quite US centric, so there's lots of mentions of 401ks and IRAs, but this can be very easily translated to a UK reader, and obviously the actual principles are still very much the same. On to number 2, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. So this book is mostly about getting time and location freedom and escaping that sort of 9 to 5 rat race. In the book, Tim Ferriss often talks about people that he calls the new rich. The idea is these people are taking control of their life by working remotely, concentrating on productivity and time, and working on projects that they really want to be working on. There's also information in the book about subcontracting work and using freelancers to help you do tasks that you don't enjoy doing, or maybe that you just don't get the value by doing them yourself. Tim speaks about some of his methods he's used to build very successful businesses and side hustles, where ultimately he uses freelancers that can do the work at very reasonable rates, but much more efficiently, allowing him to spend the time on things that he really enjoys doing. Although everything I've described so far probably makes it sound like it's best based towards someone running their own business, I do think it could be a very useful book for any of you to use, even if you just take these thoughts and considerations into daily life. Number 3, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. So this book out of the 5 is probably the funniest one. Ramit has a wicked sense of humour and he often sort of takes the mickey out of himself and his own culture of being Indian and negotiating everything. He speaks about funny stories of his dad haggling on a car for days on end, only to walk away from a fantastic deal because they wouldn't throw in free car mats for him. However, it is not just a book about comedy, it is also a fantastic finance book, and basically it is laid out in a 6-week plan. I have never read The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey before, but I could imagine it's similar to that sort of style of book, where it lays out point by point for what you need to work towards to ultimately take control of your finances. Some of the starting steps are of course quite simple, such as opening certain bank accounts and taking control of things like credit card payments and things like that. However, it is still very useful to listen to, even if you think you have complete control of this sort of stuff. Later in the book, once you've got sort of all these points in place, Ramit then speaks more about actually living a life that you want to lead. This is a common theme in all of the books I'm recommending today, and what a great thing to work towards to live a life that we want to live without any sort of financial constraints. Number 4, Quit Like a Millionaire by Christy Shen and Bryce Leong. So this book is all about a couple, Christy and Bryce, who at 31 years old retired and now spend their lives travelling the world. This book again is really based towards the FIRE movement, and it talks about some of the fundamentals of reaching early retirement through financial independence. It's a very interesting story as it actually speaks about how Christy grew up in rural China where their family lived on less than 50p a day. So it's really quite extreme, the circumstances that she had to work from to ultimately reaching early retirement by 31 years old. At 8 years old, Christy and her family moved to America, and over time she studies hard, she works hard, and eventually she lands a high paid but highly stressful job as a computer engineer. There's lots of interesting stories in the book, but one of the ones that really resonated with me was Christy realised she was suffering from something known as lifestyle creep. So as she earned more, she was also spending much more too. The book explains that without her working so hard and being so stressed, she can still live a happy and fulfilled life. And instead, her and Bryce decide to concentrate on reaching early retirement. The thing I most enjoyed about this book is Christy and Bryce are actually living through what we're all working towards. Shortly after they reach FIRE and retire early, they actually go through quite a market crash, which is really interesting to hear about, especially as Christy's quite the worrier, and I'm sure some of her concerns are things that you've thought about yourself. And then the final book, number 5, is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book explains how as a child he had sort of two dads. One dad, his real dad, is what is called the poor dad in the story. Although he isn't actually financially poor, he works in a good job, he's highly educated. He's poor in respect that he doesn't take control of his finances, and ultimately he's sort of working for the man and lining someone else's pocket. The second dad is actually his best friend's dad. Now this dad, the rich dad, he works for himself, and he's realised that you should get your money buying assets rather than liabilities. A lot of the book is based around how we should be getting our money working for us. Rather than getting our paychecks and spending it on clothes and shoes and jewellery and all these different things that ultimately are costing us money and we're losing that money, we should be buying assets such as stocks, bonds, property that pays rental income, investing in businesses that you can take an income from. There's all sorts of things that we could do. The rich dad teaches him that if he can get his money working from him, especially from a young age, then ultimately it gives time for that money to compound and grow over time, so eventually he has more money working harder for him, ultimately earning him more money and allowing him to live the life that he wishes to lead. So they are the 5 books that I have really enjoyed reading. I didn't want to go into too much detail about each book as of course I want you to read and enjoy them yourself. Don't forget the links to today's books can be found in the description box below, along with a 1-month trial of Audible where you'll get a free audiobook for signing up using my link. I look forward to hearing from you very soon. Take care guys.